Hello, everyone. I wanted to invite you to join the Creative Social Impact Collective. It is a community of creative-minded change makers like you that are working together to deepen their impact in the work they're doing. And as a thank you, you get a free download of the 5 steps to reimagining or imagining a new program, project, venture, or movement to bring the change that we want to see into the world today. Hope to see you there.
I think, the part that trips me out about what you're saying is sometimes, folks are thinking it's a pipe dream for some of these cats to actually want to be a hip hop star. And it's not to say that somebody's like down in the dream. I don't think anybody's attempting to down the dream or whatever. But those avenues for that creative juice, like they have to be somewhere. And I think the fact that you laying the foundation for that in a wonderful area of Memphis, like how far could a wildfire like that spread? If people understood the power of being a creative, because you're not leaving these kids in a space where poverty will be a continual issue. You're not leaving them in a space where they don't understand the worth behind their work, and they believe that this is their work. Like you said, some of these kids have that fire in them, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you cultivate that?
I answer that question by, it's just so funny, man. I don't think anybody thought that what I wanted to do was a great idea to do. I don't think anybody thought, except for maybe my brother. He's only a year and a half older than me, and he was trying to do the same thing. If you're young and you meet somebody who values what you value, I think it starts there. So I think it's one thing for me to try to convince somebody or try to convince somebody of why what I want to do is valuable. It's another thing for that person to already have the knowledge of it being valuable, and then already have some knowledge on how you would approach making that possible. When you talk to a kid, I talked to kids before the pandemic. I talked to anywhere from 10 to 14 high schools a year. And I would just go in and talk to kids about the music industry and how I'd accomplish what I'd accomplish. Kids are often very surprised that a hip hop producer or a producer like me who, walked into their class and I didn't, I walk in there with a hoodie on, probably a whole bunch of rings and, you know what I'm saying, and whatever. I just keep it real. And they always appreciate that. They always love that. I can just see on their faces that like they just are so refreshed that that I know the artist that they're talking about, that I know their potential, and I tell it to them real. I say, look, the last 2 people to get signed out of this city were not even 20 years old yet. So I'm not looking at you all as like these little cute things that like I'm doing something cute here.
Right.
Coming into a classroom. Nah, man, like y'all 100% could change your life, your parents' life, everybody's life at your current age. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be clear about this. I'm not in here checking off a box so I can say I've spoken to high school. I'm talking to people who can change the world right now.
The fact that it's coming from you and what you represent to them versus any other person, field, industry, what do you think the fact that it's coming from you as an artist, a culture bearer, as we like to say, what impact or difference do you think that makes for them to hear it from someone like you?
When I did my TED Talk, it was funny because, I watch Narcos and stuff and I get inspired by Pablo, you know what I'm saying? So any we're going to do this, we got to figure this out kind of mindset, I'm a fan. But one thing that we did here when we first started Unapologetic was I looked at the parts of Memphis where if people were in these parts of Memphis and they had never heard of Unapologetic, I failed. And so all of those spaces were all the colleges. Every college, I'm not even going to say kind of, we 100% had interns vandalize the properties with stickers, Unapologetic stickers everywhere on classroom doors, RA doors, laundromats. We took over all the colleges. On a few of them, we even created some controversy. Security got involved. People was checking out tapes, right? But the message was sent, right? So no matter what happens, everybody saw these logos and these stickers everywhere and was like, who is this? I'm not surprised when college students know about us and what we're doing. So there was a whole bunch of security on campus, questioning people in terms of what happened and how it happened and everything. So we made our voice known that we existed. The controversy behind it spread the word much further than the stickers did. So I expect college students to know who and what we are. when I did my TED Talk, the guy who was executive producing the TED Talks, he was a high school teacher, and he had his students as interns to learn about production of an event. When I got there for the rehearsal, the 2 days before the TED Talk, I got there for the rehearsal and I met him. He said, "Man, it's great to meet you, bro." I was like, "Yeah, it's good to meet you too." He said, "Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like when my kids in class, we were going over who was going to be doing the TED Talk, and we were going through the booklet. Everybody was the most excited for you. All the kids were the most excited for you." And he was just like, and he told his kids that he had never heard of me. And then they all shamed him for having never heard of me. He said they were making fun of me for the rest of the day. They were calling me old because I had never heard of you.
Wow.
And I was completely shocked because we had never aimed at that demographic in terms of promotion and digital marketing or visibility. We had never aimed at, we always aimed at 18 and up. What I realized at that time was that, and I met some of these kids. All of these kids have been following me on Instagram. All of these kids, they had, they were up on everything. Everything we did, they knew. It all starts with the optics of it. And this is why I will never, you won't catch me in a suit. You won't catch me in a suit. Not that I have problems with suits. I just need to show that success doesn't only look like somebody in a suit.
They feel you. They see themselves in you. And I think that goes back to that too.
Yeah. They see freedom. When you open up a book for TED Talks and you see a whole bunch of headshots with people wearing ties, and then you see a guy with a mask, that guy is doing whatever he wants to do. And that's why like, a few years ago, I don't know about right now, but a few years ago, even though Kanye was at the end of his 30s, 16 to 17-year-olds were his number one fans. He was still doing whatever he wanted to do and did not play by politics. He did not play by any societal norms,
right.
All that stuff. And so when you do that, when you radically and boldly do that, young people love you.
Created a lane. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, when you talk about what it means to be a creative and how that does have the impact, especially how you can see that impact on youth, it's like that's the way that you can change their minds, and then their minds are going to be the ones who evolve to change these systems that we're in. Because one of the biggest things that they want to know is, how does this impact me? When am I ever going to use this? And I think when a teacher was showing them, look, hey, this is how you can be or understand what it means to put on a production. And then when they see the person who looks like them doing that particular thing, like that's a game changer. Like, and unapologetically, that's what we really need to do in order to make sure that we're making the impact, because that's the work.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the work. Speaking of that,
I think people, definitely young people, that spirit of a liberated life.
Yeah.
I think when you get grown, you've bumped into all of the barriers, not all of them, but a lot of them. But kids still have that's like, I think about my littles, right? They don't really know I can't yet. They don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so when kids are growing up and they see, especially by the time they get to middle school, high school, and the grown-ups are in that, I guess, that constricted space,
Yeah.
and then you show up,
Yeah.
they are like, brah. I think about just the state of the world right now and how there are a ton of young people still in middle school, some elementary school. They start in social ventures now because they already know we as grown-ups, we don't know what we're doing. They're like, forget it. I'm gonna start something. We're gonna sell these things. We're gonna help these people over here. Hey, can you open a bank account for me? That's what I need you to do. And then you can step to the side. Right?
Yeah.